Welcome children to the value education class. Today we will start chapter 10, Ahimsa, the message of India. Open your book, page number 61. Yes children, open page 61 of your book and let's start with the chapter Ahimsa, the message of India. See the highlighted portion on top of the page. It is difficult to control anger. When we are angry, we sometimes become violent and hurt ourselves or others. It takes more strength and courage to control our own anger than to attack someone. History tells us about the violence of war, how kingdoms were destroyed and thousands of young men were killed. Sensible people everywhere want to live in peace and harmony. But just wishing for peace is not enough. Each of us has to practice ahimsa. Do you know what ahimsa means? It is a Sanskrit word for non-violence. Sometimes the road is difficult. Now here the road means the path of our life. So what happens? We sometimes sleep or trip or even fall. But we must learn from our mistakes and get back on the path of ahimsa. We must also try to make others join us on this path. That is the path of ahimsa. Now here in this chapter it is said about a story of a boy called Paresh. See that portion? There was a boy called Paresh in our class, but we all called him Punch. He was always angry with someone about something, and he was always hitting out with his fist. His parents and teachers had warned him and even punished him for this, but he went on punching other boys. That means he did not listen to his parents and teachers. We, that is the classmates of Paresh, all stayed as far away from him as they could. Why? Because he always hit him. See there, we did not talk to him and did not ask him to join us in our games. Why? Because they did not like being punched. Paresh always punched them, so his classmates did not like being punched. So they all avoided him. Now Rampal was the only classmate Punch would listen to. He said to Punch, "I try hard, Rampal," said Punch, "but I am not able to control my fist. When I am angry, my fist just seems to hit someone." One day Rampal thought of a simple but a very clever plan. He told Punch, "It is difficult for you to control your anger, but it will be easier to control your fist." This Rampal said this to Punch. What he said? That it was difficult for Paresh to control his anger, but it will be easier for Paresh to control his fist. So what did he do? He told him to wear a thick ring on his finger. When you try to make a fist to punch someone, the ring will gently pinch you and remind you not to be violent. So what will be the function of the ring? Whenever he tried to make a fist to punch someone, the ring will gently pinch Paresh and will remind Paresh not to be violent. So Rampal gave Punch a thick ring to wear on his finger. Now, did Punch immediately stop getting angry? Of course not. But he stopped punching people. Why? Because the ring always reminded him in time. After a while, he did not need the ring anymore. He could easily keep his fist in his pocket even when he was angry. He had learned that by practice. So, if you practice anything, you will be able to learn also. Soon we were asking him to join us in our games. So the classmates have now changed. they have seen a change in Paresh, and so he asked Paresh to join in their games. As the days and weeks went by, he became so happy and relaxed that he was not getting angry very much anymore. He was like any of us. So, here we see that Paresh has changed a lot. I don't remember when we stopped calling him Punch, but by the time school reopened after the holidays, we had started calling him Paresh. Why? Because the nature of Paresh has changed after the holidays. How did it change? By wearing that Ahimsa ring. So the Ahimsa ring had worked magic on Paresh. Now see the let's understand portion. It is natural to get angry sometimes. Yes, all of us get angry. Even kind and good people get angry. Anger often robs us of self control and we say or do cruel and hateful things. Yes, everybody, we all get angry. And anger, this anger, what does it do? It helps us rob of our self control and we say or do cruel and hateful things. After that, later we feel sorry for our words and actions. We must learn to control our violence. This is the true meaning of ahimsa, being non-violent, even when we are angry and even when someone else is hurting us. So this is the main thing we should remember. What? That ahimsa, being non-violent and when we are angry and even when someone is hurting us. Now see point wise here it is given some of the things we can do to stay on the path of ahimsa when we are angry. First is that what? Become more aware of our own emotions, especially anger, and remind ourselves that violence will hurt our own self as well as others. Next point you see what we should do when we are feeling very angry. We should try to sit still and stay silent for a few minutes. And this will let our mind take control of our emotions. Now remind yourself, violence is not the answer to anything. I am an ahimsa person. Don't answer an insult with another insult. Tell the person calmly that you are hurt by his or her behavior. If you have said or done anything hurtful to someone, apologize to that person. Last of all, we should think of Paresh and his ahimsa ring. Children, we know that the subject is value education. So what value do we learn from this particular chapter? From this chapter we learn two values, that is non-violence and self-control. Now ahimsa, which is the message of India, what does it tell us? It tells us that we should not be violent. That means we must not have violent thoughts, speak violent words or act violently. It asks us to help spread this message of peace. If anyone or any creature is being ill-treated, we must protest. But we must protest peacefully because violence cannot be stopped by more violence. Everyone can be an ahimsa person, even a child like you. We all belong to the great human family, so every time we hurt someone, we hurt ourselves too. It is important to say no to violence and say yes to peace. Violence shouts aloud, peace whispers softly. So children, here I conclude my lesson and your homework will be to go through the chapter thoroughly. Thank you.